Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Goliath Bodybuilding. Mountain. And yeah, I am back from the grave now. As you guys know, I was fighting a flu for about 2.5 weeks there. I'm still clearing this thing out, as you can hear in my voice. My voice is still not quite right yet, but I have accomplished my third workout. So 3 days in a row I've worked out. I'm starting to just acclimate myself back into the groove here. But the first thing I want to talk about, and it's kind of related to this whole me having to take 3 weeks off training, and that is the biggest philosophy that held me back when I was really young, as well as I see hold a lot of natural bodybuilders back. And that is the philosophy of being afraid of losing your gains. Now, the reason why this is a horrible philosophy to hang on to is because this prevents you from experimentation with what might be a better type of training for you, because you're so afraid of change that you might not experiment with something that might be a better way of doing things. So for instance, I was doing 3-day splits for years, and 3-day splits were great. I got some good results from a 3-day split. But for the longest time, I was afraid to try 2-day splits or any type of higher frequency type training because I had already gotten certain results from the 3-day split. So I thought, how can this 2-day split be better? And I was also afraid that maybe the 2-day split wouldn't work as well, so I didn't even try it. And therefore, I kind of delayed a process, because once I finally did decide to try a 2-day split, I got better results than ever before. So the thing is that one split might work better for you than another. You know, you might be working better with a bro split or whatever. It doesn't really matter. My whole point is, though, is that you have to be open to try new things and not constantly afraid that you're going to lose your gains. So it's the same thing with taking time off. Sometimes you might need to take some time off training in order for the body to recover. And by doing so, then when you come back into training, your body is better able to deal with the stimulation or the stress that is caused from weight training. So only through conducting these experiments can you find out. And if you're too afraid to let go of what's already worked just for a moment or two, you might be limiting yourself when it comes down to finding an even better, more efficient way for you to train. So that's one thing. So I want to also say the great thing about being a drug-free natural bodybuilder is that you don't have to worry about losing your gains permanently just because you might flatten out after a break, just like happened to me. You know, I was sick for 3 weeks. I was only eating once or twice a day, some chicken soup or something like that. And, you know, your body's going to immediately start to work on what is the highest priority at the time. And that, for me, it was kicking out a virus out of the body, right? Kicking out the flu. So after you're done that, and then you come back to training, everything comes back very quickly. It only takes a week or two, and then you're right back into the groove again, like nothing ever happened. So you don't have to worry about losing your gains as a natural, because you will keep everything. It's just that you might be losing glycogen or losing a little bit of a groove on the exercises and so forth. And that's it. So to let you guys know what I've been doing, today is the 3rd day that I've actually trained. But the first couple of days of me training, I only used half or less than half the weight that I was using before I got sick. Because the whole point is just to ease the body back into training and not to stimulate it too much, just to subtly ease it back into the groove again. And that's another mistake I see people make, is that they have to take some time off. So right away they go to their 1 rep max, or they try to do what they could before just to test to make sure they never lost anything. Well, I guarantee you most of the time, not always, but most of the time, your reps are going to be down, your strength's going to be down, not because you actually lost strength, but because the body has not stored the necessary glycogen into that area. The muscle tension has also changed, and you also may have lost a little bit of that groove or that coordination that is necessary to have the same strength. So what I found is that you're better off just easing yourself into the process, and then everything just comes back very quickly anyway. What's the point of risking injury or pushing yourself to a place where maybe your immune system gets stressed again and then you go back into having the flu again, right? So you're better off just easing yourself into the process. Just take it easy. Don't panic yourself into getting the gains back, because they're going to come back anyway. And that way you can enjoy the process rather than beating yourself half to death based on guilt or some other weird ego game you got going on in your head. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I use less than half the weight when I start for the first 2 or 3 days. And on the third day, I started to use a little bit heavier weight, which was today. I used 225 on the bench, which is still about 25-30% lighter than what I usually use for bench pressing, but it was more than enough to stimulate and to get the body going. So this is the whole point. The first week is just to get the body back into the groove again, and then slowly you'll start seeing that your strength will start coming up, your glycogen, your pump will start coming up, but you're easing the body into this process rather than forcing it. In the long run, you're better off letting go of this panic around losing your gains, because you're going to be able to experiment more. You're going to be able to ease yourself into getting results and not making dumb decisions, which is another thing I find when people are driven by insecurity and worry, they start to take risks with their health in an attempt to get the maximum gains, right? And some guys might justify doing 1 rep maxes all the time and so forth, which is horrible, but you know, stuff like that. And this is the thing. So whenever you're coming from a place of insecurity or worry, you're going to make dumb decisions and you're going to actually break yourself rather than achieve more, right? So you can see the long list of guys on the internet who have done this to themselves. And yeah, if you're in this for the long haul, like most natural bodybuilders are, you want to be training when you're 60, 70, 80, then yeah, follow what I'm saying right now. That's it. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad I'm here. I'm going to be answering some more questions and some videos and so forth. So stay tuned and I'll be uploading more regularly now, hopefully. Mountain. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this helps you out in your training. And thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters and take care for now. Mountain.